Ganesh sir?
Yes, Jay Krishna.
Ganesh sir, can you please check the Facebook page?
Yes, I'll do that. Yes, it's live.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Afternoon, good evening, Abu.
Sir, good evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Zeba,
Welcome.
good evening.
Good evening.
Are we all set?
Sure, sir.
Right. So, kൃത്യമായിട്ടൊക്കെ start ചെയ്യാം.
Yes, sir.
Manjula, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Varma also. അല്ലേ? അപ്പോൾ ആരംഭിക്കാം നമുക്ക്.
Yes, sir.
Ganesh.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. All set?
All set, sir.
Wonderful. Okay. Let's start.
Yes, sir.
By time, please. Thank you.
Good evening, all. I am Manjula Devi PS, Superintendent of Sree Chitra Art Gallery. I welcome all of you on behalf of Museums and Zoo Department to the Symposium on Raja Ravi Varma and Sree Chitra Art Gallery, Past, Present, and Future. This is in commemoration with the 173rd birthday anniversary of Raja Ravi Varma. He was born 29th April 1948. We are very happy to invite all of you to this symposium where we explore the past, present, and future of the museum. I would like to commence the symposium by invoking the blessings of his palace of birth, Kilimanoor. Representing the Kilimanoor palace is Ramavarma Tamburan, who will deliver the invocation. I invite Ramavarma Tamburan.
Namaste. Namaste, everybody. And this is a very special occasion for all of us who love the great artist Raja Ravi Varma. And it's a great effort taken by the Museum Department and the Classic Department. And special thanks to Venu sir and Abu sir and all other people behind that project. And I would like to sing Saraswati Slotams. We know Ravi Varma. He created the faces of
Some problem with this video. No audio.
lords and goddesses. We spread our intent and a devotee of Sri Mukambigari Swaga for this beautiful event. And once again, my special thanks to everybody there and my friend Mr. Ganesh, Chitrabhanu sir, all officials there. So wishing all best wishes for this great project from on behalf of Kilimanoor Palace, all family members and wishing you. And please listen this Saraswati Swaga for this great function. Thank you so much.
Saraswati Bhagavati Sama Pada Sama Pada Saraswati Bhagavati Vishesha Vishesha Jatyabhar Vishesha Jatyabhar Vishesha Jatyabhar
Thank you so much.
On behalf of the Department of Museums and Zoos, I thank Ramavarma Tamburan of Kilimanoor Palace. Now, I would like to invite Sree S. Sabu, Director of Museums and Zoos, to deliver a welcome speech.
Thank you, Manju. Thank you so much, and good evening to all. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to this online symposium on Raja Ravi Varma and Sri Chitra Art Gallery, Past, Present, Future, hosted by the Department of Museums and Zoos in commemoration of the 173rd birth anniversary of Raja Ravi Varma. Before completing the formality of addressing welcome to all of you, I would like to mention two important things which are happening in and around Sri Chitra Art Gallery. And as you are aware, that the Trivandrum Museum, the Department of Museums and Zoos, is the custodian of largest collection of Raja Ravi Varma paintings in the government sector. And we had a long pending dream, a 40-year-old dream of making a new gallery in the name of Raja Ravi Varma in the compound itself. And now this dream becoming a reality. And a double-storied building with a two spacious gallery is coming up, and almost 95% of the works have been over. The infrastructure, I am talking about the infrastructure, and within a few months, it's going to be open to the public. And this occasion, I would like to utilize this occasion to acknowledge the valuable contribution from Mr. R. Chandran Pillai, the Executive Director of Kerala Museum, the only government nodal agency who is taking up, who is performing this work, who performs the work and work of setting up of this museum. And the second thing, I would like to point out that a full-fledged conservation lab is being setting up in the compound itself, especially meant for the restoration of Ravi Varma paintings. So these two projects are becoming a reality only because of one person. It is none other than my most beloved Additional Chief Secretary, Dr. Venu IAS, who is also handling a session in this webinar, in this symposium as well. And it's my pleasure to invite my most beloved Additional Chief Secretary, Dr. Venu IAS, to this online symposium. And today, we are blessed with the presence of a fairly good number of eminent speakers dealing with various topics. And so first of all, I would like to welcome Chitrabhanu sir, the art historian, who is dealing with the topic History of Sree Chitra Art Gallery. Sir, I am really happy to welcome you to this online symposium. And I'm really happy to welcome Zeba Maria, who is exploring the design of the new gallery. Zeba, welcome to this symposium.
Thank
And
you, sir.
Yes, I'm really happy. I'm really happy to welcome. I just welcome to say Girikumar sir, one of the eminent art conservators of India, who is giving a lot of inputs to the Department of Museums and Zoos in the field of both curative as well as primitive conservation, and he's the backbone. And he's the chairman of the committee constituted by the State Government of Kerala for monitoring and evaluating the works of the conservation of Ravi Varma paintings. And I'm really happy to welcome Girikumar sir. Hi, welcome to the symposium. And finally, it's my turn to just welcome to my dear friend, Mr. Ganesh Shivaswamy, who is curating the new layout. And let me say a few words on him, about him. And there is no need of special introduction, because as you are aware that he's a lawyer by profession. He's an ardent lover of Raja Ravi Varma, and he has started his research on Ravi Varma and his paintings at the age of 13, and still he's continuing his researches. And it's a privilege for me, and it's really an honor to just welcome to Mr. Ganesh Shivaswamy to this symposium. And definitely he's going to be the center of attraction today's evening with his unique style of presentation. So once again, welcome to this symposium. And I welcome all the eminent speakers and guests from all over India, from different walks of life, to the symposium in order to share your knowledge and experience. Thanks to one and all. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. We would now hear from Sri Chitrabhanu, sir, who will speak the history of Sree Chitra Art Gallery. Sri Chitrabhanu is the director of Raja Ravi Varma Center of Excellence for Virtual Art, University of Kerala, Mavelikara.
Thank you, Manjula. Good evening, everybody who are assembled here to participate in this webinar. I feel honored to have been invited to participate in the session on the eve of 173rd birthday of Raja Ravi Varma. And it is indeed a pleasure to participate in this session, because after it's a long cherished dream, it has been a long cherished dream of Raja Ravi Varma himself, who in 1895 had written to the Diwan of Travancore to start a gallery to house art objects. So now after it took almost 40 years to see his dream fulfilled when in 1935, at the initiative of the erstwhile ruler of Travancore, His Highness Sri Chitra and the art advisor Jairam Cousins, who was serving the Travancore as an art advisor, that in September 1935 it was opened. We all know that the two buildings which houses Ravi Varma, paintings of Ravi Varma as well as Bengal School. So it's an important event to say now that it is being built up. A new gallery. It is indeed a pleasure to see that a new gallery is, a spacious gallery is coming up, thanks to the initiative of Venu sir, Mr. Abu, the director, all the, and Chandrabala sir, and all those who are associated with the museum, that a new spacious gallery is coming up. It comes now in my mind in word.
Can you hurry up, please?
I'm sorry. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir, please.
Something happened in between.
Nothing, sir. Nothing, sir. It's okay. Sir, please continue. Sir, I request you to please continue.
Okay, right. So it comes to my mind that when towards the end of last century, that is in 1997 or 1998, when I visited Baroda Museum, which that time had built an exclusive spacious gallery for displaying paintings, large-scale, large-sized paintings by the Raja Ravi Varma. And Ranjit Singh Gaikwad of the royal family, I happened to meet him, and he said, "We see what we have done, what your state could not do." Now, at this moment, I feel very happy that at least it is being taking place. The long cherished dream of all art lovers of Kerala and fans of Ravi Varma are happy to see that this big, deserving, spacious gallery is coming up in the museum. A brief history only, I will sum up with a brief history that after, in 1935 itself, the ruler as well as the Chitra had mentioned in this function held after a few years of the opening, which was held in Vijay Hall then, and he mentioned that a museum should function as an educational institution also. Elsewhere also, I have read that a museum has a role to play in educating the cultural values and cultural treasures of a country or of a region. So I hope that with we know that we have the Chitralayam has many representative works by veterans, masters of Indian art, especially from Bengal school, like Nandalal Bose, Abanindranath Tagore, Manish Hegde, Hemendra Majumdar, and so on. Similarly, we have also works by Nicola and Setlo Rorich, the Rorich. And again, works occurred from different regions of India, which probably Cousins himself must have traveled and collected. There are many paintings collected from Rajasthan as well as from Himachal Pradesh. And there are, I don't know whether the authenticity has to be checked about the Mughal miniatures of late period. But anyway, we can say that it's though situated in a small corner of a country, we can proudly say that we have representations. It should go on as a museum. As a museum grows, it should go on adding works. We see in history that after the Chitrayam was opened, in the coming years, every month 2 works were added, that is recorded. So that is to say that if we look back during this present century, we hardly had any additions to the art gallery. And we should, I think, as a museum enthusiast, I love museums. Now I have been visiting almost all the museums in the country, and we should also try to project ourselves, the contribution from this state of not only Ravi Varma but also the works by his contemporaries. The late of who were active after Ravi Varma, that is from early decades of 20th century, that also should be collected, traced and collected and brought to the museum. Then it will fulfill its mission, that is, the art of Kerala is we can be projected very well. And we have many works have been discussed in various books, various debates, various discussions, which of course it is not a time for giving a discourse on those paintings, but still, especially the Mangada, the Mohini and Mangada, then Ravana and Jatayu, they have been, I mean, of course, there may be one finds many versions of these paintings, which Ganesh must have probably noticed, and he will be able to give a more vivid picture about those paintings. I am not going to that, but I would like to conclude by expressing my wish that in a year the museum will be developed into a full-fledged museum and dedicated to the display of Raja Ravi Varma's paintings. I would like to request the authorities that the Ravi Varma paintings of Ravi Varma are housed in different museums in this state. They all could be brought into one place itself, so that the visitors as well as the connoisseurs or art lovers, Rasikas, will be benefited, will get a clear picture about the paintings. So thank you all, Biju, Apu, Venu sir, Ms. Manjula, Zeba, and for the passionate connoisseur of art, Mr. Ganesh, Shivaswamy, and art conservator Girikumar, and of course Chandran Pillai, the spirit behind the effort. Thank you all, and I wish all the best to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warm wishes and nice speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope now you have got a glimpse of the museum history. Speaking about the persistent effort is Dr. Venu V, Additional Chief Secretary of Government of Kerala. He has been very supportive of taking the museum into the future. Now, I request Dr. Venu V to say a few words, sir.
Thank you, Srimati Manjula Devi. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure to be part of this very important symposium. First of all, I wish to place on record our sense of gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Ganesh Shivaswamy, who suggested this and in fact has done the groundwork for this. I cannot describe how happy I am to be part of this for many reasons, but primarily because I see a lot of friends and associates, art lovers, people who have dropped in because of their singular interest in this project that all of us are doing. I can see my old friend Amreshwar Gala, who's joined us. Hi, Amar. And I can see Riaz Komo. I can see many other friends from the museum and arts field here. My colleagues from the museum departments, the National Museum. I can see people from the archaeology department here. I think this shows that with very little notice time, people have come together to actually hear about this wonderful, new, exciting project that we are doing together. I would also like to recognize and thank the key movers of this wonderful initiative, starting with Mr. Abu, the director, Manjula Devi, the curator, the superintendent of the gallery, and other colleagues of the museum department. My colleagues, Chandran Pilla, and his team, Kerala Museum, which is anchoring this project. But the key movers are the people who are bringing in their experience, wisdom, and intellect. Many of them, without any charge whatsoever, considering the nature of this project. Ganesh, thank you very much, and our deep sense of appreciation to you. Girikumar, one of the foremost conservators of the country, who is putting in his services and service of his colleagues to advise us on conservation, and we shall hear from him also. Mr. Chitrabhanu, who gave us this wonderful but short history of this Chitralayam. The team, Zeba, Naseeb, and their team members, this young team, who's very passionate to make this gallery, an experience as of no other, and all others who are working on this project. I mention this because in a state government with our limited finances, with its bureaucratic red tape, and the issues of red tape, it's very difficult to do projects. And it's doubly difficult when you're touching such a sensitive issue. Raja Ravi Varma belongs to the world. Raja Ravi Varma, just because we are a custodian of a few of his works, we can lay no claim on him. So in a sense, this is a project for the world. It's a project where the responsibility of this great responsibility that is thrust upon us. So it is imperative for us in government, with our limited experience and our limited resources, to bank on the goodwill and the cooperation extended by experts. And it is in that sense that we have put together this wonderful team. And I appreciate what Ganesh said when we discussed the symposium. He said it is not enough for just a few of us to think about it. It is important for us to bring in everyone who has a stake in this, who can contribute through some way or the other to be part of this wonderful project. And I think this symposium is the beginning, is setting the agenda, so to speak, so that we can be benefited from your views, your suggestions, your criticism. So I think the next half an hour, 45 minutes is going to be very exciting, because Ganesh will be and the design team will be talking to us about how they're going to do this gallery. From my side, I can only say this, that during the last few years, we have tried to open or reopen about 20 museums. So it's a new museum movement that's slowly taking shape in Kerala. And hopefully we will set a template that many other states can follow with limited resources, but with a lot of passion and participation. I think we'll be able to create museums that will be owned by communities and run by community strength. And so in this very exciting time of creating new museums, there's no project that's given me as much pleasure as the project that we are talking about right now. A brand new exclusive gallery for Raja Ravi Varma and his works. Because Raja Ravi Varma, in my humble opinion, has not been given the due because of our constraints, because of limited space. I have walked into that gallery scores of times, and every time I go there, I would think we are doing a disservice to this wonderful treasure that we have. Raja Ravi Varma, every visitor who visits the Chitralayam visits to view his works. And we are not doing the responsibility cast upon us in the proper fashion. So here is an opportunity for us to actually prepare the ground for the visitor. So this is done basically to ensure that a visitor from across the world can walk into this gallery and walk out enlightened, and uplifted because of the experience that Raja Ravi Varma's works provide to each viewer. That is the responsibility in terms of design. There is a responsibility in terms of curation. There is a responsibility in terms of interpretation. There is a responsibility in terms of programming, outreach. So we, in effect, what we are doing is that we are going to take upon this as not only a project that will open a new gallery, but it's also a project that will put the trajectory of the department into a different trajectory altogether, because it also will involve a multitude of programs and events. We hope to see other works of Ravi Varma traveling to us, and we hope to provide on loan works of Raja Ravi Varma to travel to other places. That's how museums work. That's how galleries work. So I think this is the beginning of a very exciting time, but have also cast upon us great responsibility. So I think I will stop here, because we can talk about each part of this. But I'm also, as most of you are, I'm also waiting to hear Ganesh first, because the curatorial approach that he's going to bring in, the intellectual path that he has chosen is so exciting that he will reinterpret Raja Ravi Varma for us in this gallery, hopefully, and all of you will be as uplifted as I was when I first heard about this. I'm also excited to learn about the design, the new grammar, the new idiom that a young team, Zeba and Naseeb and the others, are going to bring into this gallery, because we believe that this gallery will set the template for a very beautiful movement across the state and perhaps outside. So with these words, once again, thanking all of you who have worked hard to create the symposium, and all of you who have taken time off to come and join us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for participating in this webinar and for your support. Architect Zeba, designing architect of Cairn Designs, which has been appointed as the architect for the new museum. I request her to speak on exploring the design of the new gallery.
Hello everyone. Good evening. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Hope everyone is safe and sound. First and foremost, I would like to say on behalf of my team at Govt, how honored we are to have this opportunity to present before such an esteemed panel of guests, and to all those who made the effort to attend this symposium from their homes. So without further ado, I like to begin the presentation that entails our design journey. So Jai Krishna, I'll be sharing the screen now.
Yeah, ma'am.
Raja Ravi Varma is one of India's greatest iconic artists of all time, fondly known as the artist of the masses. The task is to design an art gallery that celebrates the legacy of the renowned artist Raja Ravi Varma, and this was no small challenge. Our design criteria is inspired from the artist's work that demonstrates the fusion of European art techniques within an Indian context. The intention was to bring together a composition of modernity that blends with the architecture of the surrounding environment. The project to create the art gallery obviously came with several constraints like any other. It had to be designed in a very tight space behind the existing Sree Chitra Gallery number 1 and Gallery number 2, both being heritage buildings. The design should be within a tight rectangular setback of 45 by 13 meters, and this area has been completely utilized to accommodate the requirements of the structure. The challenge was to design the gallery in such a way that it blended seamlessly with the existing 2 buildings while connecting them for uninterrupted flow of movement. An inviting souvenir store is designed at the entrance of the site to impart commercial viability. The ticket counter that was placed at the foyer of gallery number 1 initially is proposed at the entrance of the site. A police post with amenities that monitors all functions and services of the gallery throughout. A toilet block as per requirement exclusive for the art gallery visitors and staff. 3 primary roles of a museum are education, presentation, and curation. Clearly, Venu sir has actually given us a brief about all these things. As designers, our objective was to facilitate these roles through zoning and plan. Proficient zoning helps the visitor to gain unique experience. So we managed to implement zoning not only in the new museum building, but also the existing buildings which were also integrated in such a way that they support each other, resulting in a functional and efficient design, which I'll get into detail. So the museum property is surrounded by the Trivandrum Zoo on all sides. The souvenir store, the building in yellow, is on the right, and it's placed at the museum entrance to attract the gallery visitors as well as visitors to the zoo. The ticket counter is also placed to have ease of access to the gallery cluster. The ticket counter is also placed at the entrance for exclusive access to gallery only. The police post is located at the very next to the souvenir store. It's strategically located to have ease of access to the gallery clusters while keeping guard both the exits of the site. Service paths are planned throughout the site that does not hinder the landscape or the visitor experience. The toilet block is naturally provided at the far end of the site. We really gave due diligence to landscape in this property, and it's positioned in areas which allows for relaxation and contemplation. And we were focused that the landscape blends with the natural surroundings and within the constricted space we had. So coming to the circulation, which is very important in design, we wanted the visitor to be led through the landscape to the Gallery 148, from which one moves to either of the gallery buildings, and a bridge connects the existing gallery to the new building with landscape and water courts on either side. As you can see, a unidirectional flow is achieved to amplify user experience. The block in red is the gallery number 1, which will house an interpretation center, pre-exhibition space, and a library. An interpretation center is designed replacing the existing exhibition hall. This interpretation center enhances visitor interaction with the art and the artist. The promise of education and knowledge we mentioned earlier is achieved through audiovisual communication facilities and provision to conduct talks, outreach programs, and events just like Venu sir said. The interpretation center will be followed by a pre-exhibition space that will reinforce and promote the audience's engagement with the exhibition. For students and academics, a library is also designed within this unit. So this is the new gallery building, which is led from the which will lead the visitors from the existing gallery through to the new building via a bridge with the landscape on either side. This is the gallery number 2, which will now house the original works by the Rorix. The art gallery will have on display works from Mughal, Rajput, Bengal, Rajasthani, and Tadjor schools of art. It will also have an Oriental collection of Chinese, Japanese, and Balinese paintings, miniatures from different parts of the world, and reproductions of murals of Ajanta, Bagh, Sikriya, to name a few. Now we'll move on to the architectural plans. So this is the ground floor. 572 square meters in area. The ground floor will house a large gallery of 315 square meter, dedicated entirely to the master artist Raja Ravi Varma, and will house 83 of his artworks. The larger than life gallery, with its curation brilliantly done by Mr. Ganesh, my follow-up speaker, is befitting to the exemplary artist. The 8 feet wide corridors connect the gallery with the stairways and the service rooms. The service rooms are provided on either side of the halls. So from the onset of the project, we realized the delicate nature of the artwork, and how it is prone to deterioration if appropriate measures were not considered. So a major task was to incorporate techniques that facilitate preservation of the artworks. So keeping this in mind, all services are designed by associating with none other than Mr. Girikumar, a leading art conservator. With his guidance, we were able to integrate facilities that ensure conservation of the artworks. So if you want, we can get into the technicalities in the Q&A, but I'm pretty sure Mr. Girikumar sir would like to get into details during his speech. So the first floor, a smaller gallery of 230 square meter, is placed on the top floor, where we have the School of Ravi Varma that occupies 53 artworks. So this floor will also house a storage room. The lift, the service rooms are provided on either side of the hall in the ground and first floors. The lift is provided in proximity to the storage room, and it is strategically placed on the south side with nearest access to the service gate. So this is to enable smooth service functions and avoiding collision with the visitor route. So with this, a unidirectional movement is achieved throughout the building that enables easy flow of traffic and provides maximum comfort to the art viewer while considering a heavy influx during peak season. So we've also made sure that the staff circulation route is also clean and does not hinder with the visitor access. Now moving on to elevations and landscape. The elevation is a nod to the composition of traditional Kerala arches and the ingenuity of weaving with the modern context. So we've used semicircular arches in the elevation, and that acts as a deconstructed elements of traditional Kerala architecture, and it is modified to meet the design needs, creating an impressive entry. The facade of the ground floor is very porous for the gallery to be in continuity with the exterior public space and landscape. On the upper level, the corridor is flanked by reimagined wooden and concrete vertical louvers with colored glass window strips. So the roof design of the new building complements the surrounding heritage structures, which all have impressive steep slope roofs. So we've used the traditional age-old practice of corridors for its sensibility and practicality, and dramatized it with giving semicircular arches on the ground and colored window strips and vertical louvers on the first. Moving on to landscape. The landscape design can be defined as simple and elegant, and no design is complete without it. Staying truthful to the local terrain, climate, and flora, the design is a transition space between indoor and outdoor spaces, connecting the exhibition clusters, and providing relaxing spaces with inbuilt seating that echoes the landscape. The landscape is designed to use natural and local materials as much as possible, and it celebrates vernacular architectural materials. So moving on to some of the images, this is the entry to the gallery compound. Here we have the souvenir store and the ticket counter with inbuilt seating and landscape throughout. So this is the landscape on the south side of the new building, the exit, and we have a landscape area there. We have inbuilt seating as well for the visitors to contemplate on the experience they just had, linger and talk about it. Before I conclude the presentation, I would like to take you through a walkthrough we've made. Lastly, I would like to reiterate, the whole team at Kuan, we are so grateful to have this experience and learning curve, especially by associating with likes of Ganesh, Mr. Ganesh, our art curator, and Mr. Girikumar sir, our conservator lead. I cannot thank you guys enough, and everyone who's been part of this journey. And you know, this journey that Mr. Ganesh like to frequently put, making a moment in history. So it's kind of a tagline with the team of sorts. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Zeba, for your talk and showing the design of the new museum.
Madam Manjula, may I take 1 minute?
Okay, sir.
I just want to recognize.
Sure, sir.
And yeah, I just wanted to recognize the presence of and welcome the princess from the Kaudia Palace. Madam, thank you so much for dropping in. It is our pleasure that you have taken the time. I hope that we'll be enriched by your suggestions after Ganesh takes us through the curatorial approach. Thank you for dropping in. Thank you. Yes, Madam. Manjula Devi, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay, sir. And I now request Sri Ganesh Shivaswamy, who is a lawyer by profession. He is worked extensively in structuring the legacy of Raja Ravi Varma. He is the founder of the Ganesh Shivaswamy Foundation, which worked extensively in structuring the legacy of Raja Ravi Varma. He has curated the layout for the new museum. I request him to speak about the layout.
Thank you, Manjula ma'am. I place on record before I begin my gratitude to Dr. Venu Vasudevan, Abu Sivadas, Mr. Chandran Pillai, Manjula Harilal, ma'am, thank you. Vijay Lakshmi, Jai Krishna, Zeba, Nazeeb, and I am completely honored, absolutely honored to see Her Highness from Kaudia Palace here, gracing the occasion, ma'am. Your Highness, thank you, and Kilimanoor. I think this is when Zeba said it is history in the making. I think it is history resonating also, because we also have today Kaudia and Trivandrum, the Kaudia Palace, back. Where it began, they come back again. So it is a wonderful resonance today. Ladies and gentlemen, when I was asked to curate the new gallery, my mandate was 2 sections of paintings. The first was, of course, Raja Ravi Varma, and the second was the artists associated with Ravi Varma. It was initially, there was a direction that the ground floor will go in for Ravi Varma, and the upper floor, the first floor, will go in for the artists associated with Ravi Varma. Initially, this is important, so please bear with me for the first portion of the statistics. Initially, I was asked, the list which was given to me was 43 paintings and 2 certificates, making it in all 45 items. The first thing I did before I even started the curation was to re-examine the collection. And there were some paintings which were already on display, which had been titled as anonymous. So we brought them in. One of them was the lady playing the veena. The other thing which I did was I went into the Aladdin's cave, which was the storage room of the Sree Chitra Art Gallery. And my God, what a treasure there was, languishing in storage for maybe about 4 decades. And what I did was we brought out all the sketches, the framed sketches. We brought out oil sketches. We brought out a whole lot of stuff which people have never seen, at least for 3 to 4 decades. Considering the fact that this is a refreshed tribute and a permanent tribute to Raja Ravi Varma, I thought everything from storage really had to come out. I took the narrative forward by bringing in the chromolithographs from the Ravi Varma press. Why? Because the chromolithographs do represent a continuum of Ravi Varma's legacy through the Ravi Varma press. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to announce that the number went up from 45 items to 83 items on the ground floor. This is an increase of 84% of the existing display. It is also my absolute privilege to say that this will now become the world's largest collection of Ravi Varma under a single roof. The next being only with the Royal Gaikwad collection, which is the largest private collection in Baroda. So once we pulled all of these in, what next? Well, how are you going to arrange them? It's such a huge collection now, and it's on a permanent display. And the first thing which occurred to me was, how am I going to place them on the wall? You see, the old museum had some difficulties, but had some advantages. The old museum is an old building perforated by a number of doors and windows because they designed it for ventilation. So the amount of wall space which was there were actually small alcoves, and the museum staff simply had to put the pictures where they had space. Here, on the other hand, was a large, extensive wall. So what was required was you could not do a random display. The display had to be aesthetic. So this was the first thing which came to my mind. So I love symmetry. So you would notice that in the display, there is an element of symmetry within the sections. The second was, how is it to be categorized? Initially, I thought we will do chronology being date-wise, but then for several reasons, I said we're not going to do chronology and preferred to do a theme-based display. So ladies and gentlemen, keeping the mind of a thematic display and an aesthetic, trying to keep within those sections a symmetrical display, I embarked on the display for the ground floor. The themes are now categorized into mythology and classical drama, the Udaipur collective, the artist at work, the portraits, the women's collective, the sketches, the chromolithographs, and we end at the Mysore collective. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I request Zeba to take us into the 3D view.
Sure.
So this is how you will see. Of course, we had a wonderful presentation just before this. This is how you would look at the museum on the ground floor. And when you enter the museum, you will look at the eastern wall. The eastern wall is the longest uninterrupted wall. And to me, the first question was, when you enter the museum, which is the painting you're going to see? And to me, the answer was very simple. Damayanti. Ravi Varma called it Damayanti and the Hamsam or Swan. Why did I put her there? Well, the reason is simply because after Ravi Varma died in 1906, a number of people started criticizing Ravi Varma. That is usually the case. When a person dies and a person cannot reply is when all the criticism begins. So basically the Bengal school started criticizing him. And so Ravi Varma went, the legacy sort of went through its ups and downs. But way out in 1971, when the Indian Postal Department decided to pay tribute to Ravi Varma, this is the painting they decided to put on the postage stamp. So for me, this is the painting which actually survived all of the criticism and came through. And therefore, for me, it had to be the Damayanti, which goes right in the middle. On this panel, which you will see, Zeba, you could zoom out a bit, please. You will see the first 5 paintings which were commissioned by His Highness Maharaja Moolam Tirunal. These 5 paintings were commissioned in a correspondence which commenced, as Mr. Chitrabhanu said, in 1895 and went on, I think, till about 1899. I stand corrected, it's 1898 or 99. These 5 pictures are the first 5 pictures to enter the picture gallery, which Ravi Varma himself wanted to start. And what you're seeing on the wall, ladies and gentlemen, is the Mythology and Drama Collective. I'm going to start from the the left extreme, please. When I have grouped, yes, there we go. So when I grouped pictures, you will notice that the one on the left is the watercolor, which is in the collection, which was always in the collection of the Sree Chitra Art Gallery. And what you notice on the right is the chromolithograph, which we now brought out of storage. The chromolithograph on the right is derived from a painting on display in the Jagan Mohan Palace. Now, the reason why they've been put together, I'll tell you one of the reasons why they've been put together. Ravi Varma actually sent the painting on the left to the Maharaja of Mysore's administration. And he said, I'm going to start the final painting now. Do you want me to paint Rama as a blue complexioned person or in the natural flesh tint? So if you look at the sketch, he is blue on the left. And if you look at the chromolithograph on the right, which is derived from the final painting, Rama is fair. So here you immediately get an idea. I've always maintained that while the sketches represent the view of the artist, the final painting represents the view of the patron, because the patron goes on making alterations to it. And if you look at the sketch on the left, according to Ravi Varma, Rama was blue. But according to the patron, Rama becomes fair. So you, by placing them together, one next to the other, you begin to decipher these beautiful, subtle narratives. You will also notice that in the picture on the left, Sita is actually not there. Sita gets added into the final picture. So things like this, you will be able to see only if you were in a position to place them one next to the other. Zeba, let us move to the right, please. That, of course, is Shakuntala. Draupadi at the court of Virat. This was the first painting which was commissioned by His Highness Maharaja Moolam Tirunal for the picture gallery, and therefore assumes a lot of importance, being the first picture which Ravi Varma got to do for democratizing art through the museum. He democratized art through the Ravi Varma press in his name about a year or two before this. We'll move on to the right again. I spoke about Damayanti. Mohini and Rukmangada. Mohini and Rukmangada, please observe, we brought out one of the sketches from storage, the one on top. This was in storage. The one at the bottom in the present display, the painting is in one place and the sketch is in another place. Obviously, due to difficulties in placement there, as I mentioned. Here we've put all the three together. So you can actually notice the various differences. or the thought processes which the artist has before he comes to the final compilation. We'll move further to the right, please. Two of the Jatayu Vadams. This version on the left is the aerial combat, where Ravana is fighting Jatayu as he flies through the air. There are two versions of it. One is in the collection of the Sri Chitra Art Gallery, and another is in a private collection. The one on the right is derived from the chromolithograph, is a chromolithograph which is derived from a painting on display in the Jagan Mohan Palace. So here again, you'll be able to notice differences. The one on the right, of course, Ravana standing on the rock. That is one of his final paintings for the Mysore Commission. Now we'll move to the right again. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Udaipur collective of Ravi Varma. On the upper floor, you will see an Udaipur collective of Rajaraja Varma also. Here are all of the various things associated, various people, landscapes associated with Udaipur. Now we'll move on to the right. And this is my favorite wall. You may think this is a haphazard arrangement of pictures, but to me, I think this is the most important wall. This I have called the artist at work. So if you think what's the artist got to do with it, of course, the easel in the middle will actually have the real easel by Ravi Varma there. But if you look at the picture, the portrait on the left, this is a portrait of Grieg. And if you zoom in to the sketch, you will notice that he is sitting in front of the camera and he is being photographed by the artist. This is a sketch by Ravi Varma himself. He is being photographed by the artist, and then you can zoom out and you will actually be able to see the final painting. So we understand through this process that Ravi Varma did use photography extensively. We'll move on to the other side, please. I'm very happy to tell you that this most important sketch has been taken out of storage. This is Ravi Varma's only self-portrait. It's a sketch. His back is turned to the viewer and he's very busy painting away on his easel. It is the very easel which you will see in the center of the room. And what is the portrait he's painting? Well, the portrait he's painting is actually the portrait which looks something like the Mechani which you'll see here now. Zoom out. Perfect. So you actually get to see how the artist worked. And this is the artist at work. Let's do the two photographs in the middle now, please. These two photographs have been added. And one, of course, is Ravi Varma listening to an exposition of the various epics. Ravi Varma was very well versed in the epics, in not just the epics, but in so many other things, classical drama as in Shakuntala. He knew it very well. And the photograph at the bottom is him painting, and the easel which you will see will actually be right in front of these photographs. So this, ladies and gentlemen, to me is the most exciting wall in the museum because you actually get to see the artist at work. The other two on the two extremes, of course, is the student and a man reading a newspaper. Ravi Varma did study extensively and Ravi Varma did keep himself very well informed of what was happening. We now move on to the portrait collective. This, ladies and gentlemen, is on the western wall. You enter it on the right of your screen. So this wall actually gets broken into two sections. The one on the left is the portrait collective. I've put Broody Kitchen right in the middle. One, of course, to ensure that there's an element of symmetry. But interestingly, when the painting of Broody Kitchen was actually commissioned by the Kitchen Memorial, there is a newspaper publication which says Ravi Varma has now completed the picture and it has been placed in the museum next to the royal couple. So when I embarked on it, I said, come on, we're bringing you back to where you were originally placed. So we placed him again next to the royal couple. And again, trying to keep the symmetry going, we've kept the couples together on either side. We'll move on to the women's collective. This is on the other side of the wall. Here, I'm delighted to announce that we added the painting, which you notice there, yes, the lady playing the veena. This presently shows, it is by an anonymous artist. I did have a conversation with Rupika Chawla. She mentions that it is in her book as a Ravi Varma. And so it's been added to the list. This is one of the paintings which got added to the list. The other, of course, is the one on the extreme right, which I find absolutely delightful. So we've brought out one of the sketches on the left in the fore. This is one of the sketches of the Tanjo dancers. But ladies and gentlemen, one of the preparatory oil studies which we brought out of storage is the one on the right. I'm actually going to throw out a question to all the viewers. Which preparatory study do you think that is for? Because there's also a chromolithograph of that particular scene. We pulled it out of storage and it's an immaculate painting with the most beautiful face. So she simply had to come out. So let's go back. Yes, so that is the wall for the women's collective. Here again, ladies and gentlemen, just to highlight, the Gypsies of South India has been placed next to the two certificates from Chicago, because that is one of the paintings which went to Chicago in the year 1893. Again, trying to bring in a context as to the certificates and the painting which actually went there. We'll now move on to the, yes. So this is entirely added to the collection. You have 10 sketches on the left. It's a beautiful panel of sketches. There are a few more in storage, but they're very faint and they needed conservation. So we've, as of now, we've gone with 10. And then you have 10 of the chromolithographs, 10 of the chromolithographs on the right. As I mentioned, and I'm reiterating it now, the chromolithographs are very important to the Ravi Varma legacy. They may have been made by the Ravi Varma press. Yes, the Ravi Varma press did not belong to him. It remained in his name, but it is through the chromolithographs that Ravi Varma went to the people. Until then, Ravi Varma was an artist for a patron. With the chromolithographs, he became the artist for the people, greatly immortalizing the legacy of Ravi Varma. So therefore, the chromolithographs, it was imperative for me to bring it into the ground floor. We now go into the Mysore collective. These are all painted from 1904 to 1906. All of these pictures which you see on the wall. Until now, we only had in Sree Chitra Art Gallery, we had only 3 Kedda operations. One of them, the one which you see on top in the center, has been brought out of storage. This one has been brought out of storage. And if you notice, it's the same camp which you will see on the screen at the bottom. Interestingly, these are Ravi Varma's last pictures in Mysore. One of his important patrons was the Maharaja of Mysore. Ravi Varma interestingly saw 3 Maharajas of Travancore, 2 Maharajas of Mysore, and 1 Maharaja of Baroda. So this is, all of these are painted during the commission of His Highness Krishna Rajavadiyar X. So with this, ladies and gentlemen, I have taken you through the ground floor. We can perhaps do a panorama, please. There you go. So that's the museum. We'll now go on to the first floor. So ladies and gentlemen, again, a little bit of the statistics before we go on to the first floor. The mandate which was originally given to me was C. Rajaraja Varma, Mangalabai Tamburati, and Ramavarma. I added other artists who were associated with Ravi Varma in some way or the other. So the artists which got added were Ramaswamy Naidu, Padmanabhan Thambi, Frank Brooks, and Horace Van Ruth. Again, once the artists got added, The next thing was to re-examine the collection again. So again went into storage. So we brought out two more Rajaraja Varmas, and we recatalogued one painting, which I will take you through as we walk through. So I started with the list of 38 Rajaraja Varmas, 2 Mangalabai Tamburati and 2 Ramavarma. It is now the upper floor, the first floor is at 53. It's an increase of 32%. Here, the first floor is arranged according to the artist. So what you're seeing on the wall are the 2 Ramaswamy Naidus on the left and the 2 Mangalabai Tamburatis on the right. The Mangalabai Tamburatis have been placed over there because this is the only portrait of Ravi Varma on this floor, and I felt it is necessary to center him on the wall. Moving over to the right are 3 portraits of the Maharajas of Travancore. Interestingly, all of these Maharajas were associated with Ravi Varma. These 3 portraits by Padmanabhan Thambi. We now move on to the northern wall, which is where we begin with C. Rajaraja Varma. Now with C. Rajaraja Varma, I must be honest, I did have a huge challenge in displaying them. One, because there were a large number of paintings, and secondly, because we really couldn't very much arrange them according to theme. So we've put in a lot of the pretty women here, and we've put in some of the landscapes on either side. We have 2 of, and the 2 ships on the right. We now move on to the western wall on the first floor.
Eastern.
Yes, so there we have it. We have the entire display of Rajaraja Varma on this floor. You know, at this point of time, I'm going to make one mention. Zeba and I had this long conversation as to why should there be a man in a suit? Can you imagine a man in a woolen suit standing in Trivandrum? I said, why don't we get a person standing in a cool kurta and a veshti? She says, Ganesh, no, it's not in the library. So there you have it, a man in a suit right in the middle. I doubt he'd look this gallant if he was to go through all that humidity, but there we go. I mean, there's a limit to virtual reality, I suppose. Yes, now we'll move into the perfect. Yes, so here you have some of the landscapes. The set of 6 in the middle, which you see, are lake fronts. The ones on the right, the 3 which you see on the right, yes, these are the lake fronts. Some of the 3 women. In fact, that portrait of the girl with the goat, I think, is the cutest painting. Very sweet painting of a girl with a goat. And then we move to the right. This is Rajaraja Varma's Udaipur collective, the 5 in the center, starting right from the middle. These are Rajaraja Varma's paintings painted in Udaipur. It's the same time when Ravi Varma's painting the ones downstairs, Rajaraja Varma has been painting these. In fact, the Udaipur collective is so interesting because it's so well documented in the diary. He keeps mentioning, I rode up to Kasodi and then I painted. And there's the Kasodi painting, which you see the second from the left. So there's a lot of history to all of these paintings which have been painted. There you go. We now move to the right. Perfect. Now here is an example. Let's move to the right extreme, please. Again, landscapes. Yes. This painting of Padmanabha Swami was actually in the present catalogue is attributed to Ramaswamy Naidu. But I examined the original catalogue by James Cousins of the year 1935, and I discovered that this is a painting not by Ramaswamy Naidu, but is by C. Rajaraja Varma. So we've added it to the C. Rajaraja Varma list here. And then we move to the right. Here are 3 paintings. The 2 on the left are by Frank Brooks, and the one on the right is by Horace Van Ruth. The painting in the center, of course, is a portrait of Rajibai Mulgaonkar, one of Ravi Varma's models. Frank Brooks worked in the studio of Ravi Varma, and therefore it was imperative we bring in this artist also onto this floor. Then we'll move to the right, please. we end the first floor with Ramavarma's paintings. So in a sense, the entire first floor, we can do the panorama, please. The entire first floor, you start with Ramaswamy Naidu, you go all the way around, and then chronologically end with Ramavarma. So this is this is the first floor for you. Once the pictures went on the wall, my next question was, I've given you so much of information here, but what happens if I'm not there to give you all of this additional information? So I thought to myself, if I were standing, for example, in front of the portrait of Maharani Lakshmi Bai, and I would like to know more about her, what am I going to do? The first thing which occurred to me, of course, was let us have audio guides. All museums have audio guides. Let's do that. But then I realized to have an audio guide requires a lot of equipment. You have to manage it. You have to keep it clean. The headsets, somebody is going to run away with them. So why do we have to reinvent the wheel? Why don't we simply do podcasts? At this time, I said, wow, that's a good idea. Let's do podcasts and let's simply have the QR codes there. So people who walk in can scan the QR code, put their headset on, and listen to the additional narrative. At this time, I was speaking to a friend, and he said, a podcast is all good enough if the person could hear. But what if the person who walked into the gallery had a hearing difficulty? We are a sensitive society now, and we should make every effort to ensure that these people are also given the same life's experiences which we have. So I said, all right, let's not do the podcast. Let's do the same thing, but we'll do it on a YouTube video. And this way, the person who hears the video can also see the text. Now, this, of course, became a huge different dimension altogether. And what I decided is that I can now use the YouTube video for all of the additional information which I want to showcase. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to tell you, we've actually created a YouTube video for Maharani Lakshmi Bai. The YouTube video lasts about 5 minutes. So I'm not going to impede the flow of events now. After Mr. Girikumar completes his session, I will come back and I will show you the QR code for Maharani Lakshmi Bai. So I request all of you all to get your QR code scanners out and point it at the screen when I tell you to when I come back. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pause here and come back and finish the curation after Mr. Girikumar has completed his session.
Thank you, Sree Ganesh, for your sharing of your experience of an excellent curation. And
Manjula madam, may I intervene here?
Okay, sir.
Apart from thanking Ganesh for this staggering work of curation that actually brings out the collection in a very, very different and novel light. I also want to mention here that some of our audience has already started asking questions in the chat box. So Ganesh, when you get the time, please dip into the chat box. There are a few people who have already put their questions there. And if the others have any specific queries, please feel free to use the chat box so that we can do this. Ganesh can prepare his responses without disturbing the flow of events. Thank you. So please, Manjula Devi madam.
now, Sri Girikumar, a leading art conservator, has been appointed to lead the conservation efforts for the present museum. I request Sri Girikumar to speak about his effort in conservation. Sir, please.
Thank you. And good evening, everybody. I feel privileged to be here. And at the same time, a bit nervous after all these fantastic presentations, nervous about putting my 2 bits in. For me, this is an emotional moment because I grew up with this collection. I have been seeing this collection since I was 5 years old. And if anybody is tempted to ask that question, how long ago was that? Don't bother. I'll just answer that now. It was pretty long ago, quite some time ago. that's it. And till I left home to study, I used to spend hours whenever I was in the city. I used to spend hours in this museum and looking at the collection. And then once I studied conservation, I started understanding the importance of conservation and what the condition of these paintings were. I have been trying to create a conservation facility for the state, which is almost 30 years. I've been trying that, met various people in the government, various people in the museum, but finally, I guess everything has a time and place. And then here we are. So I'll share my screen. Yeah. And yeah. So even I had been talking to various people. As I said, we have a new director, Mr. Abu, and Dr. Venu. So a couple of years back, the flood happened, and then we realized there's a lot of heritage materials got submerged. Even though they were salvaged on time, there was no facility, no expertise, no other facility to restore them and put them back. So then I thought, okay, this is the time. We need to create a state-of-the-art facility for the state. And then I had talked to Dr. Venu about that. And then he said, yes, we could look into it. And then we had been at it. Then sometime last year, I got a call from Mr. Abu and Mr. Chandran Pillai. They said, we got some funds for the conservation of Ravi Varma paintings, and we need your help. So then we started working. I suggested that, we create, I found an opportunity to create the conservation lab, my dream project. So I said, this is an opportunity to create the facility here. And maybe the government could set up a technical committee with, of experienced conservators and allied professionals. And then hire a team and then run the project under the guidance and supervision of the technical committee. And once this project is over, so this facility could be used for the conservation of the rest of the materials in the state. So that came into existence. So we had been, the government set up a conservation, the technical committee, and I was asked to head the committee along with my colleague and friend, or rather two friends, Sree Menon and Professor Chitrabhanu, formed the committee. And then we planned the conservation lab, and we ultimately managed to hire a conservation team. And the lab is coming up. We are just beginning to the conservation activities. So let me take you to the conservation lab. I think it's just here we are. That's a conservation laboratory. Then we are just setting up. We got the first lot of equipment a few days back. So that's the lab, view of the lab. And these are the, and here we had a little covered veranda. So we just converted that into the wet area so that we don't have to keep the water points and everything away from the main lab. And then we have the team came up. So they already started working on the documentation and trying to understand the
sorry to interrupt, Giri. Sorry to interrupt. I think I don't know whether it's my problem, but I can't see your screen. Does everybody else? Can everybody else see the screen which is describing?
No,
Please
sir,
stick to
no,
the
no.
chat
Same
box.
problem.
Giri,
Same
I
problem
think
is here.
you have to, can you go back and then pull up the screen once again for us, please?
Yes.
Actually,
Chat box, I think some others also have shown that the first slide is
Okay.
frozen. So can you
Okay.
please go back
Yeah,
and
let me just,
share the screen?
yeah,
Thank you.
that's it. And now, can you see now?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so
Yeah,
can you
so-
take us through your previous slides also, Giri?
Yeah, this is the beginning, the conservation lab. So
Okay,
that was
great. Yeah, thank you.
the previous one was, this is the first slide. The next one is this, the conservation laboratory. I'm taking you to the conservation laboratory. So, and this is in the second floor of the education department. So this they use for educational activities, and the museum agreed to give us the space. And so we are converting this into the conservation lab. So this is what you see when you enter the lab. So we got the first lot of equipment, as I said, and it's being unpacked and set up. And this is another view, another room. And this is another view. And that's the wet area. It is an open veranda. We enclose that. And so that we can keep all the activities, the water points, everything away from the main lab. And then we have the conservation teams. They have already started planning for the lab, making the list of equipment, materials required, and also looking. Sorry.
Please go on, please go on.
Yeah, and they are looking at the paintings and making a preliminary condition assessment. So soon we will take these paintings one by one to the lab and start the conservation. And in addition to this, the conservation, we are also planning, I mean, like it just again the dream, which is that we would like to do a complete technical study of these paintings, so that we could understand the artist techniques and the materials and create a data bank, which hasn't been done in the country. So that's one of the ideas we have. I mean, it needs a huge amount of time, resources, and infrastructure. So we may be able to collaborate with other institutions to share their facilities, whichever we can't afford at the moment, or there's no need to recreate. That's something which we are planning. And also, once the laboratory is full-fledged and it's functioning, we could also tie up with the education institutions and create training programs, and eventually convert this into a state-level conservation facility, and maybe even to the entire southern region. So that's our dream. And so it's just the beginning. And then at the same time, the new gallery is coming up. So Mr. Abu has asked me to have a look at their plans and give my inputs. So I have been working with them. This is the current display of the Sri Chitra gallery. So here there's no air conditioning, there's no specialized climate control facility. So we have these fans for air circulation, and then there is just the lights put without any thought. So the new gallery is being planned with a round-the-clock air conditioning. And so then I had a look at the air conditioning plan. Then I realized there had been a little bit of problems which we may encounter. So I had a chat with the architects as well as the air conditioning, the engineers. So one is that they were planning to keep the temperature quite low. So the problem is that for years, these paintings had been in a condition without any kind of a control. And if we move them into a low temperature, it will go into a shock. It could create a lot of problems of the paintings. And at the same time, we also don't want to put neither the paintings nor the visitors in a freezer. So we need to ensure the comfort to set up a level where the comfort of the visitors as well as that of the paintings to be ensured. The visitors come and go, but the paintings are the permanent residents there. So we have to make sure that they are safe, they are comfortable. So we have already started monitoring the conditions of the current gallery. We already installed the data loggers and recording the temperature and humidity conditions, so that when the paintings are moved into the new gallery, we could start with a condition very close to that, and gradually adjust, kind of continuously monitor and adjust it to a level which is comfortable for the paintings, for the visitors, and at the same time sustainable, the less load on the system and the power bills. And then also we talked to the air conditioning the experts, and in case we have to shut down or there is a failure, so we have to provide a ventilation system. So we are incorporating a ventilation system through the existing air conditioning ducting, through using low cost, I mean, compared to the air conditionings, the low cost industrial ventilators. So in case air conditioners have to be shut down or there is a failure, we can switch on these ventilators and ensure there is air circulation. So, because the stagnant air in a closed area is the biggest problem of conservation of these materials. So then we also talked to the lighting people. So we came up with identified a product which is more suitable for this. So we are using LEDs so that the UV light has been eliminated completely. And we also found somebody who could provide a LED chip from which the blue light has been filtered out. So usually even a warm color LED has a predominance of blue component that is deleterious to the these paintings. So that has been filtered out. Then we get a warm color, which is about 3250 Kelvin, the color temperature. That is quite close to probably slightly brighter than the oil lamp. So the whole idea is to ensure the safety of the painting without compromising the visual experience. At the same time, also to give the visitors an experience of viewing the paintings in a condition when it was originally painted. Because at that time, either there were only incandescent lamps or oil lamps whose color temperature is very close, around 3000 Kelvin. So that's what we are planning. So here you can see on the left-hand side, which is the fluorescent lamps displaying currently. On the right-hand side, you can see the color temperature, which is around 3000 Kelvin. That's the light material we are using. And then since we have oil paintings as well as the paintings on paper, so they do have different threshold exposure limits. So we need to have different intensity for oils and the works on paper. So we are working with this lighting specialist so that we can have the light heads whose intensity can be individually controlled. And also, since this is a permanent exhibition, so we needed to keep the exposure minimum. So we can also connect these lighting systems through the motion sensor, so that when there are not people around a particular area, that entire cluster can be switched off. That will also reduce the exposure further. And that's what we are planning. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your experiences. Then it is the time for question and answers.
No, I'm coming back.
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Get back to
Yes.
Ganesh, but just one point I just want to again butt in here. I think the contribution that Mr. Girikumar is bringing in is immeasurable, because as he mentioned, what we are starting at Sri Chitra now is a permanent conservation laboratory, which hopefully will become a resource center. not only for conservation in the state, but also for South India. And I should record my thanks to Mr. Girikumar, who very willingly gave his time and his intellectual resources to us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ganesh, over to you.
Yes.
Sri Ganesh, please complete your curation talk.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to show you the QR code. For those of y'all who have your mobiles ready, you can scan the QR code. Otherwise, after this, we are anyway showing you the video, only to give you an idea as to how the curation is being taken to the next level through the additional videos. So here you go. I hope you can scan the QR code. I'll keep this on the screen for a bit, and then we'll show the Jai Krishna. Please get ready with the video.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, I'm taking this off the screen and we are actually showing you the video. Jai Krishna, I'll stop sharing now.
Okay.
And after this, we'll go into Q&A. This video is about 5 minutes, and it's about Maharani Setu, about Maharani Lakshmi Bai. About 5 minutes, and it's about Maharani Setu, about Maharani Lakshmi Bai. About 5 minutes, and it's about Maharani Setu, about Maharani Lakshmi Bai.
Born in 1848 under the asterism of Bharani, Her Highness Lakshmi Bai ruled as the Maharani of Travancore from 1851 till her death in 1901. Under the grand portrait by Raja Ravi Varma,
Ganesh, I think you have two videos playing.
Ruled as the Maharani of Travancore from 1851.
Jai Krishna, I think you'll have to start this again. This is a screen share by Jai Krishna.
Grand portrait by Raja Ravi Varma.
Ganesh, I think you have two videos playing.
Ruled as the Maharani of Travancore.
Jai Krishna, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Jai Krishna, please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Tourism of Bharani. Her Highness Lakshmi Bai ruled as the Maharani of Travancore from 1851 till her death in 1901.
Can you hear me?
This grand portrait by Raja Ravi Varma, Her Highness was painted in the year 1883 and is signed on the
Again,
lower
I think there are two
style
videos playing.
Ravi Varma, Koalthambaran.
Can you hear me?
The painting depicts the regal woman wearing a pavada painted in the year 1883 and is signed on.
Sir, give me 1 minute. Some technical error happened, sir.
Take your time, take your time.
Mr. Ganesh, can I call you now?
No. Please wait for some time. He's rectifying the defect.
സമാധാനമായിട്ട് എഴുതുന്നു, കുഴപ്പമില്ല. പ്രശ്നം.
Born in 1848 under the asterism of Bharani, Her Highness Lakshmi Bai ruled as the Maharani of Travancore from 1851 till her death in 1901. This grand portrait by Raja Ravi Varma was painted in the year 1883 and is signed on the lower left in the style Ravi Varma, Koalthambaran. The painting depicts the regal woman wearing a pavada or skirt richly woven in zari or gold thread. She also wears a flowing red upper cloth, which is held in place by a broad vodyanam or waist belt. The attire worn by the Maharani was unusual in many respects. The women of the Malabar usually wore a simple white cloth around the waist and another white cloth over the upper body, and this was called the Methakatta. The members of the royal family wore a red shawl in addition to the Methakatta. Attire in India evolved as necessitated by convenience and climate. The Malabar regions being predominantly hot and humid, the simple white drape best suited the climate. The Maharani's attire was therefore most unusual, for she wears a heavy skirt and upper cloth. Ravi Varma's skill in rendering the texture of various textiles allows us to recognize that the Maharani is wearing an embroidered velvet blouse. A few years later, in circa 1885, the Maharani posed for a photograph in which her skirt is evidently inspired by European attire. Resembling an English ball gown, the Maharani poses in a manner similar to the painting. At the time when this portrait was commissioned, the Maharaja of Travancore was His Highness Vishakam Tirunal Ramavarma. It was this Maharaja who commissioned Ravi Varma to paint the famous Sita Bhumi Pravesh, which was taken by Sir Tanjavur Madhav Rao to be presented to His Highness Sayaji Rao Gaikwad, the young Maharaja of Baroda. The Maharani is adorned with jewelry which any Indian would easily identify. The diamond necklace worn close to the neck is called an addige, and the necklace of coins is called the Kasumala. The Maharani was conferred the Imperial Order of the Crown of India by Queen Victoria in the year 1881, which was acknowledged with a special badge of honor. The badge of honor contains the letters VRI, which was Queen Victoria's imperial charter and was set in diamonds, pearls, and turquoise. This was encircled by a border of pearls surmounted by the imperial crown. The badge was attached to a light blue bow edged in white and was worn on the left shoulder. The Maharani rests her hand upon a book bearing the title The Young Lady's Book or Principles of Female Education by William Hosmer. It appears she is reading the gilt-edged volume, which is indicated by the blue satin bookmark. Perhaps she was reading the chapter on intellectual education, where the author questions the discouragement of girls from being offered collegiate education in the following words: if there is a common want and a common fitness for education, why exclude them from common opportunities? At the time when this picture was painted, India was governed by two powers, the Maharaja and the British administration. Both these powers needed to be acknowledged in order to maintain a semblance of diplomacy. Ravi Varma, acutely aware of the need for appreciation by both an Indian and British viewer, incorporates Indian and British visual elements into this painting. This painting, therefore, is an example of the diplomatic sensibilities of Ravi Varma in addition to his artistic abilities.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the curation, and the entire effort now is to be as inclusive as possible, to bring in additional information which is outside the gallery, to place the pictures in context, to allow people to hear it, and even for persons who cannot hear it, to read the additional descriptions. The curation, therefore, is an attempt to mirror what Ravi Varma stood for. Ravi Varma did stand for inclusion. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to say that the Sree Chitra Art Gallery in its new format will resonate that initiative of the artist. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I conclude.
Ganesh,
Your Highness?
the climate here is bad, thunder and lightning, so I might have to switch off the computer. But before that, just one doubt. Rani Lakshmi Bhai, she was the senior Rani of
Yes.
Travancore, the Valya Rani. But she was not a Maharani in the true sense who ruled Travancore. Travancore was ruled by Maharaja Moolan Tirunal.
Yes.
She held a position of very great power and respect, but she did not rule Travancore, and her designation was Valya Rani.
I will incorporate it. I'm deeply obliged. The point of the webinar is to bring in opinions, and I'm deeply obliged by Your Highness expressing an opinion.
I will withdraw because the climate is going bad. It was a very nice webinar. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. We are blessed with your presence, Your Highness.
Thank you, Ganesh. I don't know whether you've had time to dip into the chat box. There are a few questions that have come to you.
Yes, I will. Yes,
So
I
do
think
you want to respond to those first before we open the floor?
Sure. So I see a question from Dr. Geeta Badakilaya. She says, Mr. Ganesh, can you tell us why you did not prefer a chronological arrangement of Ravi Varma's pictures, but went in for a thematic display? You see, the thing is, one, the collection was very large. Second is, in order to do a chronological display, you certainly need to know the dates of all of the pictures. Most of the pictures here did not have dates. So to do it with a sense of definitiveness on the chronology was actually impossible to do. The other reason is because, you see, unlike an artist like Rembrandt, where there was a stylistic evolution, a very visual stylistic evolution, with Ravi Varma, there's really not much of an evolution. Maybe a person who is very discerning will be able to notice an early period to a later period, but really didn't greatly evolve. So there was no point in putting it date-wise because there was no narrative there to do. The third is actually, if you look at Ravi Varma's pictures, they resonate over different periods. You see, so what happens is you will have, for instance, the Jatayu Vadam is the painting is of the year 1895, and the chromolithograph next to it, one series was of the year 1907, the other series was in 1928. So if I were to do it chronologically, 1895 would be at one end of the room and 1928 would be on another end of the room. So for all of these reasons, I decided to let go of chronology and go in for a thematic display. I think that answers that. Prithvi Prabhu, is this the oil sketch for Mohini? Yes, it is the oil sketch for Mohini. Any other questions here?
Yeah. Yes.
There's someone who's asked, will there be one in Malayalam?
Vijay Lakshmi PV. Can you just look at Vijay Lakshmi's comment, please?
It says in the Ravi Varma gallery, paintings by Padmanabhan Thambi, Frank Brooks included. Is that the one you're advertising to?
Yes.
Yes. In the first floor, we have added the paintings of Ramaswamy Naidu, Padmanabhan Thambi, Frank Brooks, and Horace Van Ruth. Yes, we've included them onto the first floor because these were artists who were associated in some way or the other or operated within the same time frame. Yes. Any other question here?
No, for the time.
So how long do we have, Manjula Devi?
8 o'clock, sir.
So we can take questions from the floor as well. I will beg the indulgence of the audience. Anyone making an intervention, please make it very, very short so that the curator can give you a response. And we have only 10 minutes in our hands. Thank you. If anyone wants to, they can either raise a hand or come on the chat box, please.
Dr. Venu, if I may.
Yes, Mr. Gala, please.
I just want to briefly say that as the UNESCO chair for museums in Asia Pacific, I strongly support Dr. Venu Vasudevan's proposal for a conservation training center. So that's about it, Dr. Venu.
Wonderful news. Thank you very much. I think I was just waiting for the center to be fully operational before seeking alliances and help from institutions like UNESCO, like other laboratories. I'm sure that the people would be willing to help us establish a good center. Thank you. I think there are no more questions. So Manjula Devi, if you want to wind up now.
I'm going to make one more request. You know that wonderful video which Zeba played of the 3D? I think I'd like to conclude with that video. I want to see it once more. So that we can do at the end of the session.
Sure. Just let me know when.
Yes, after the vote of thanks.
Okay.
Manjula Devi, you can go ahead with the vote of thanks.
Sorry. I request Srimati P.V. Vijayalakshmi, Superintendent Natural History Museum, as well as the Education Officer, to deliver the vote of thanks. Vijayalakshmi. Vijayalakshmi.
Vijayalakshmi ഇല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞോളാം.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So in the absence of Vijayalakshmi, I'm delighted to offer the vote of thanks. I think the symposium is very important, and I think basically we look at it as a beginning of a conversation. Ganesh wants to bring in other experts and curators together in a small group. So we and of course, like I said, we need to be guided by conservators led by Girikumar on this very important mission. So I hope to see smaller groups discussing different aspects of this project in the coming days. What remains for me is to thank each one of you who've taken the time off, who've taken the time to come in and attend this symposium. I hope you've enjoyed the session. Although I know that the narrative that Ganesh has unveiled before us is very original in its approach, and I know that the moment we open our doors, this gallery is going to be a sensation in the art and museum world. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
I thank particularly to Ganesh, the design team, the entire design team, to Mr. Chitrabhanu, Mr. Girikumar, and of course to Mr. Abu and team for organizing this. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Can we now have the walkthrough as the end of the program? There will be no formal announcements after this. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Zeba.
Okay, so I'll screen share again. Jai Krishna.
Jai Krishna.
Yes.
Okay.
Screen share.
Yeah, it's already done.
Okay, Manjula, ma'am, maybe you could say the what's nonsense and everyone else.
Thank you for the question. Have a nice and safe night. Good night.
Ganesha?
Yes, I think you can conclude the meeting. Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.